Imagine you drop out of college at 20. No money in your bank account, but the goal to compete with tech giants like WhatsApp, Snapchat, and Instagram. You pitch your idea to a group of nuns and end up raising nearly $6 million from the best investors in the world and on the Forbes 30 under 30 list while creating one of the most viral social app launches ever, with over 200,000 sign-ups before the release. Meet Willem Simons, the creative genius behind all of that. I flew all the way to New York City to interview him, so enjoy the video.
I've been all over the world, you know. I done seen the finest wine, I done seen the finest times, but all the pretty girls come from VA. And it's New York and
Alright, we're in New York City, and this is the second series of meeting founders under 30 who've managed to become successful with making money online. And I'm really excited because today we are in front of the office of Daze. We're going to meet Willem Simons, who is the founder of Daze and the founder of multiple different ventures. He was able to raise $5.7 million US from investors like A16Z to build the next messaging app that's going to compete with giants like iMessage, Instagram DM, and WhatsApp. And I'm incredibly excited to see how he did it, to learn his story, to find out how he marketed his product and actually managed to get over 200,000 signups before the app even launched. So let's join me. Let's see inside.
say you gon' wear. Ain't nobody gonna if we ain't gon' be there. Keep her on young cause she gon' wanna stare. All the pretty girls wanna be gay. Fuck around and find out. She like one of mine, now she mine now. You just turn around and she gone now. Should never stayed away for long, for long.
Best time she's ever had. Best time she's ever had.
For people who have no idea who you are, could you give us a quick rundown on what you're building and why would anyone care?
Yeah. So I'm Willem, and I'm making Daze, and I would say that Daze is a messenger that's just a little bit more freeform and has less constraints. So you can post your messages anywhere, you can draw on the chat, you can scribble people's messages out, you can post big exploding fire GIFs behind something, and the goal is just to make communication more expressive and playful. And the end goal is to, allow people to express things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to, so that we can understand each other better. I think that art and communication are basically the same thing, and that art just allows you to use different modalities to express different parts of yourself. And the more that we're all able to express ourselves to one another, the more we understand one another. And so we're just trying to make messaging as expressive of a medium as possible.
You mentioned you have a background, you've been very creative in your past and wanted to give other people a tool for that too. So how did it all start? How did you came up with the initial idea for Daze?
Growing up in high school, I was a big Snapchat user, and I thought I feel like Snapchat affected my friends and I, in part because it was one of the first forms of communication we had that expanded our tool set. Even on Snapchat, when you take a photo, you can draw, you can collage emojis. And so my friends and I kind of organically stumbled into making what we called snap art, which were basically just shitty, I wouldn't even really call it art. It was just little collages and expressions. But it was really fulfilling to us, and it kind of inspired us to want to make drawings in real life. And then I started doing photo editing and video editing, and it was kind of the impetus for a creative expansion within my friend group. And then years later, when we were in college, we were kind of reflecting on it. We were like, Snapchat isn't really trying to make us more expressive. It's an ephemeral photo app where people take pictures that get deleted. It's not really trying to increase the expressive potential of its users that much. I didn't know how to design. We didn't know how to make any kind of app. We just started, and so it's all been a iterative process of learning and iterating on this idea. So
amazing.
You gotta start somewhere.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to live out and express also with the videos. It's just start, be cringe at first, online. If people are making fun, don't care about it. You gotta start somewhere, and if you do something that you love and you can express yourself through that, that's the best way to do it and to start. So one thing that I'm really curious about is, what was the moment where you felt okay, people actually want this product? Because I think when you first start, a lot of the times you like iterate and you're not sure. And what was kind of the first starting point for you to realize this could be something?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because you never fully know, right? Like I'm trying to think back when I was like a 19-year-old, and there are larger trends that you can notice, right? Like since the beginning of the internet, things have progressively gotten more and more expressive, like we had. And I think, that's a big part of Daze as well. It's just like realizing that the more visual you make communication, the more expressive it becomes. And also, like when you're messaging somebody in iMessage, you usually have to think of something to say. You have to think of words. There has to be a clear intent. With Daze, and maybe this is what made Snapchat special as well, you could drop an image and that's it. You don't have to say anything. It could just be a selfie. It can be a random sticker. It can be a drawing, and that's enough to start a conversation. It's enough to have something built. And so, I think people in general just want to feel connected. And you have a crush, you want to talk to her, but you don't have something to say. And so being able to just send a picture and start a banter has a lot of value.
So, and you also don't have to like think about the words, like and rehearsing it and like rewriting it, deleting some words because you're like nervous. It's like with words and pictures, you like that part is definitely something that just makes you more creative and hopefully gets you going, texting your crush.
For sure. So in Daze, it's like instead of having to think of some like, some conversation starter, you could just like send a sticker, like a surreal sticker of a cat holding a flower, or something, like.
Right, so if you want to text your crush, then go on Daze.
Daze is the best place to text your crush, hands down.
You heard it here first. So that is awesome. You managed to raise $5.7 million from one of the best investors in the world, like A16Z, to essentially build an app that wants to compete with giants like WhatsApp, iMessage, Instagram DM. How did you manage to convince the investors that you're the right guy and this is going to work? And what made yourself believe in the idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's an interesting story in terms of like the tech industry as a whole, right? Where you look at all of these large social media apps, and when they started, they were trailblazers. They were like so innovative. Snapchat, so impressive, right? Like they invented streaks, ephemeral messaging, stories. What has Snapchat done recently? In the last few years, 5 years, all they've done is add ads and media and shit that nobody wants. And so for me, it's, I don't fully know what I'm doing, but I'm trying things. I'm taking shots. And I think that all innovation comes from somebody having a hunch and being willing to start the exploration towards it and to take risks. We're a small team, so we can change stuff up. We can take risks. We can put stuff out there. And, we released videos of what we did. We experimented with making stuff, and the world responds. The world loves new things. Everything is about change. You just got to take shots, try, make something. Nothing is that hard. You just got to start. The hard part is starting. So.
I love this message. You managed to raise a substantial amount of money. How were you able to do that? Did you just shoot your shot, texting A16Z? Were they coming up to you? And how did your first pitch look like?
Yeah, well, so I would say that for Daze it was a little bit different because I had already had my experience with my first company, Muse. But with Muse, we didn't know anyone in tech. I grew up in New Jersey. I started that company with my 2 elementary school best friends. And we literally had this idea, and we were like, we want to make this. We think that this should exist, but we knew nothing. And so my 2 co-founders learned how to code, and I learned how to design. And we spent a year just in my childhood bedroom, basically trying to hack away at things. After a year or so, we were like, we're not going to be able to realize this vision as fully as we want to on our own. We could really use some engineering help. And in order to hire an engineer, we're going to need to raise money. And so we knew one guy that my co-founder had interned for in a previous summer. And we were like, he has some money, and he does tech stuff, maybe he'll hear us pitch. So we scheduled a meeting with him, and we spent a month making a beautiful business plan, beautiful pitch deck. We had a prototype of the app that we could show as well, so there was some functionality. but we had this pitch like memorized, like we knew our shit. And it's funny because when we went into the meeting, everything that we had memorized was like out the window. Like it just went completely different than we had expected. For one, he was late to the meeting, and then when he finally entered the room, he showed up with 2 nuns, with
2 nuns to the pitch.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I was, these nuns were pitching me on their idea, and he had the nuns pitch us, and they were like, we're going around the world, we're trying to show these communities, what they're most capable, what the best version of themselves is, and how we can help them get there. And then we pitched our idea to the nuns, and they were like, we love it, like we'll pray for you. And
that's amazing.
And then so we were basically pitching to these nuns instead of to the investor, and it was much more just a casual sit-down environment. This guy ended up agreeing to give us $300,000, which at the time, to a few 19-year-olds, was a lot of money, and we were like, we can do everything we wanted. But basically, we added a couple more people to the team. We kept building for a year. It still wasn't enough. And then we went back to him and we were like, we kind of need more money. Like we need more resources to be able to build this, because this is a huge vision. And he basically said that he thinks it would be better for us to bring on other capital from other investors, and that he would introduce us to 2 other investors. So we pitched to those investors. They loved us. They introduced us to 2 more investors. They loved us. And our network just kind of slowly expanded. We went to San Francisco, and if you're doing something that resonates, people want you to succeed, and they want to be a part of that. And so these investors are both agreeing to invest and introducing you to their network. Because we really didn't know anyone. We didn't know anything about venture capitalists, and I think that how naive we were was actually a big advantage, because if we had known all the things that we would have needed to do in order to get where I am right now, we'd been like, holy shit, like that's too much, like that's insurmountable. But you just got to make a list and do one thing at a time. Just like take the next step, because really nothing is that hard. You just gotta start.
Kind of plays into the whole communication thing. One thing that's really interesting for me and hopefully the people seeing this is kind of the distributing part. Like, how do you market a product? How do you get people to actually sign up and use it? And you guys did an outstanding job by getting, I think, over 2,000 signups for Daze before even launching the app. How did you manage to do it? So, I mean,
we've had a lot of learnings on algorithms in general. With Muse, my first company, we discovered that the format of watching a video where 2 people are messaging has gone viral many times in the past, right? Like, there's a lot of the existing memes of people messaging. You can go on Pinterest and look up messaging stories or texting stories, and you'll see a lot of like hilarious images that have tons of engagement. And so we knew that the format was capable of going viral, and that there was an opportunity for us to do something similar. Obviously, algorithms are tough and unpredictable, and you don't really know what's going to hit or not. But so when we were building the Messenger, I was like, if there's a clear opportunity for us to market with this content marketing approach, and in order to increase the odds of us succeeding, we have to just be consistent. So we have to post every single day. And that's hard. Posting every single day when you're getting 0 views is difficult. And so before both the app was good enough for us to start posting the videos, and just before the app was good enough in general, I just came up with like 100 ideas of little scripts for conversations that we could simulate in the app, so that when it came time for me to start posting videos, I would be able to push through the discouragement of getting rejected, because you have to sign up. You have to commit to the idea that you're gonna fail many times. I knew that I could potentially post a video every day for 3 months and get no views, but I knew that like if this is gonna work, I have to post super consistently for potentially a long time. So I think setting up your own mindset to be like, I'm gonna get no feedback forever, and I just have to keep going.
Coming back to you saying you dropped out of college, I think it was 8 years ago, and you didn't take the traditional route of getting a normal job and putting yourself into the risk of being an entrepreneur and trying out these things and having to fail over and over again until it works. Looking back at this kind of radical step of dropping your education to pursue what you actually want to do. What advice would you give your younger self and people in a similar situation?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I remember everyone, there were so many people around me that were like, are you sure you want to drop out of school? Like, what if it doesn't work? And I really didn't get it. Because if it doesn't work, you can go back to school. Like, you can go back to school 6 months later. You can always go back to school. If anything, I think school is great for creating a space for people to find out what they really care about. I'm personally a very project-based learner, I found. So if I'm really excited about something, like I'll learn, I'll figure it out. Once you know what you care about, once you know what you do, just go for it. You know, just like do what you have to do to realize that. We live in a really special time where everything is so much easier to make, right? Like with AI, you can figure out anything. You can be like, I want to make this app. I don't know anything. How do I do it? And it will tell you the steps you need to make. Like you literally just have to try. Like we have the greatest assistant ever to learn how to do anything. When you take shots, even if you fail, you end up learning a lot from those failings. And those learnings are generally more valuable than the lessons you'll learn in school, because it's really hard to stand out in this world, right? Like, especially now that anyone can make anything. Millions of kids that graduate from college every year. What makes one person more hireable than another person? If I'm trying to hire an engineer or something, I don't care what school you went to. All I care is like, does this person have agency? Have they made anything cool before? I want to see that you made something cool. Like even me talking to you guys, I was like, I like the vibe of their videos. Like they're going for it. There's a vibe. There's an energy. If you were like, I studied marketing, video making at blah blah blah, I'd be like, I don't fucking care. Like make something cool. All that matters is like do something cool. Like shoot your shot. You know.
I appreciate that. I think it's really important nowadays. It's also kind of the vision of this whole YouTube channel is to like just go out there, do something and learn and fail over and over again until eventually you get so good at it that it basically becomes your way of expressing yourself, and then also being able to have that open up new opportunities for you and other people.
The goal should be to let go of as much fear as possible. Like fear is the mind killer, right? Because you're scared of pain, but pain is like the most valuable thing that we have as individuals. It's what inspires what you care about. I think for me, you know, I was kind of like a lonely kid. I was like an only child living in like rural New Jersey, and I think that me being kind of a lonely kid made me want to create social apps. And so people are they're always running away from their pain, but it's like, actually, what if you looked at that? What if you like looked at your pain and you're like, how can I solve this for myself? And then once I solve it for myself, how can I make that solution more accessible to other people? All great inventions stem from pain. You know, every cure to a disease stemmed from someone having a disease. You know, so yeah, I think even if you put yourself out there, you get rejected, you fail, you learn something from it, and then you can take that learning and build something else out of it. Have no fear.
Awesome, I love it. So my question would be kind of for you, especially as a creative, how do you use AI in your day-to-day life to kind of embrace your talents and the skills you already have?
I think where I appreciate it most is kind of similar to what I was saying before, where it's like, I want to make something. Let's say I want to make a video that requires a 3D model or something. It's like, I don't know how to do this. How do I do that? And it'll literally just give you step-by-step instruction on how to figure out anything you don't know, which is pretty amazing. And for coding, I think the how much easier AI has made coding is kind of mind-blowing. Like the other weekend, I decided to make a game, and I had this idea like a couple years ago for the game, and I was like, I would have to work with a couple engineers, like it would be a whole thing, like maybe, you know, in the future, or if like I have a friend that needs an idea and they want to work on something. I asked Claude, within a couple hours I had a fully functioning game.
Wow.
And I don't know how to code. And it was, you know, the vision that I had for the game, fully playable.
It's incredible at just building out the MVP version of any idea.
Yeah, no, it's truly insane. And I think that it's easy to be a doomer and to be like, oh, if everything is so easy to be made, like how is anyone relevant? Like what skills do we have is going to kill jobs? And it's like, I think for me personally, I'm always trying to fight that mindset because it's underestimating your own creative potential, you know? Like sure, maybe the traditional jobs we've had in the past, there's less of them, but also you can make that game in a weekend. Like have an idea, like live life, empathize with humanity, empathize with the world, and actualize yourself. Like make your own thing.
I think I'm trying to embrace that too a little bit because I tend to be the guy who tells all his friends, right, you gotta start learning how to use AI and the AI tools because eventually you will be replaced if that's not happening. But I think as you said, the perfect thing is not to have that victim mentality of being like, all right, I'm gonna get replaced, but if you learn to use AI to kind of fast track the skills and talents you have or gathered throughout the years, then you will be kind of ahead of the curve and you can do literally whatever you want. Coming back to what you just said, I recently had a chat with a friend of mine who said, because I was nervous to do something, and he's like, if you're nervous to do something, that's exactly when you should be doing it, so you can prove to yourself that it's actually not that deep.
Yeah.
And like if you just do it, you prove to yourself, like if you do it in a nervous state, you prove to yourself you can do it in any state.
For sure.
So if you feel nervous texting your crush, download Daze and just go for it.
Always shoot your shot. Always shoot your shot.
Thank you so much for the interview. You just answered all the questions.
I'm glad we made it happen. We took
yeah.
a shot. We did something. We made something. We'll see where it goes.
The vibes were good. Thank you.